Hello, everyone. I am back today. I have Samenda on the show, which is so fun. Samenda has been living in a vortex of manifestations unfolding for her one after the other. So you're going to want to listen to this, be in her energy, maybe learn a thing or two about how to be in the flow state, the work that she does, her experience inside of Align CEO method. Lots of great stuff here and what she's got going on and how you can be in her world too. But before we get into it, Samenda, can you share with everybody what you're grateful for today?
Yes, thank you for inviting me and for having me on. I'm really excited to talk about this together. What
Mhm.
am I grateful for today? I am grateful to have my group coaching call this morning and then that just having all my focus, having this podcast, and then just having the afternoon off. That's
Mm.
amazing. I'm not a 9 to 5 person, so I love my business for it.
Yes, yes. 9 to 5. Ugh. Yeah.
Nope,
I can't even imagine it. I don't even put it into my thought process. Okay,
not the
so you're
vibe.
not the vibe. Now, I always get people to say, "Where are you calling in from?" I'll ask you that question. Where are you calling in from today? And then can you dive right into why it's interesting or fun or magical or whatever you want to describe it as that you're calling in from where you are and how that's different from maybe a month ago? And what is the work that you do that's been able to set you up for this kind of freedom right now?
Hmm. So I'm calling in from Victoria, BC, Vancouver Island, and that is really interesting and magical and great because I'm from the Netherlands, so I'm not from here, and I've been wanting to go to Canada since I was a kid, basically. And I was supposed to go to Montreal a couple years back, but then COVID happened and it didn't go through. And then I got into the world of my line purpose, and then the retreat happened last May, and I was like, "This is it. This is my sign to go." And I was looking at the plane tickets. I was like, "Oh, do I want to go for just 2 weeks and just be there on the retreat?" Then I had this brainwave where I was like, "No, just gonna go there. Just gonna book one ticket. Just
Mm.
go there. I don't know when I'll be back. I don't know how this is going to unfold. I only had a plan for the first 2 weeks, and here I am. I'm here for 5 weeks now. I didn't buy. I rented an apartment. I bought a car, and I'm all settling in.
The level of trust and bravery you have to have in yourself that it's all going to work out and people are going to have their own doubts or worries or concerns of like, how will you do this and where will you live and how long will you be there for? And it's you just don't allow any of that noise in so that you can stay in your zone of what's feeling good in this moment. And as Abraham Hicks would say, follow the feeling. And you are truly living that. And I think it's so admirable, so cool. Now, you live this way because you walk your talk. So, what's the work that you do in the world?
So I'm an intimacy coach for singles, and I actually shared the other day to my stories that I was so grateful for everyone helping me and that I feel so settled in here. And I actually tied that to dating because a lot of people will ask me, how will I know who's for me? And how will I know this is the right person? How do I know what I want in love and intimacy and all the things? And it's like, you don't know.
Mm,
You don't know. You just go with, I help you strengthen your core to a point where you just trust yourself to navigate your love life, to
mm,
navigate who you meet and who you're going to connect with and what you attract. Um, so yeah, I think it's universal for us to trust ourselves, especially when it comes to intimacy. And I specialize in helping people break self-compromise patterns. So the way that we sell ourselves short, the way that we compromise on ourselves, our standards, we might even abandon ourselves, especially sexually, happens a lot. And I'm here to help you shift that.
mm. All the work that you could do in this world, that anybody could do in this world, why is this the work that lights you up, that you're passionate about? I often will share with people as you're on the inside of Align CEO method. I think it's really important to do work that is quote unquote the hill you're willing to die on. And so like why is this your hill? Like why this work?
Definitely wasn't the thing that I was like, when I grow up, I want to be this. Definitely wasn't on my radar for a very long time.
Wasn't on the bingo card of life.
No. And I don't think it's on the list of my parents either, that they're like, I want my daughter to be an intimacy coach, whatever. I'm sure they're proud of me. Why did I end up here? It really was a process. And so really the first thing I can link it back to is even my birth. I was born 3 months too early, which of course is not very good for a baby to just not be with their mother for the first, I think, 2 months. I was just in the hospital and I'm all okay now. Later, when I went to therapy, I realized I had a lot of attachment trauma from that, but also from just my childhood and my family dynamics. And I worked a lot on that. And so connection has just been a very big part of my life. And I
Mm.
never really tied it to intimacy until later on, where, of course, this starts to show up in your intimate life and in your relationships. Definitely did for me. I had very toxic relationships where I definitely abandoned myself to extreme measures.
Mhm.
And then I started connecting to myself and doing the work, doing a lot of breath work. And through that, I got to connect to myself again, connect to my self love, but also intimacy, just in a way that you can really go deep with yourself. The broad perspective that we can have on what intimacy is. And after a couple of years, I found myself isolated in a place. I was like, okay, now I know myself. I know I don't want to compromise.
Right.
So where are all the people at? Where are my people? I want to love
Mhm.
now. And I
Mhm.
was stuck in that for years. And I think a lot of us are people that do the inner work and can't seem to translate that to their relationships. And I think that's when I did find the way through. And I did that through finding out what I really want in love. Because if you're not aligned with what you want, it's really, you're not going to attract it, right? It's not going to align and unfold. And when I did, I just had this massive breakthrough. I was like, this gets to be part of my life too. And this gets to be is love, right? We all want better love. So I think it's really important for us to be in that place and more love will change the world. That's for sure.
Message. It's so good. Samenda, I would love to ask you a couple questions about growing your business and growing yourself as a CEO since your time of being inside of Align CEO Method. And you've only been with us for 6 months, which is wild. I feel like I've known you. It's absolutely wild. So, my first question for you is we have all these different types of calls that we do every week. We don't want anybody to slip between the cracks. So we do these weekly calls of the different types of trainings and calls that we have. Which one tends to be your favorite and why?
You have to choose. I'm bisexual and polyamorous for a reason. I don't want to choose.
All of them.
All of them. I want everything. We have it all. Okay, so if I really have to choose, it would be the accelerators. I know that's only a quarter. We only have that every no, 3 months.
Mhm.
But it's just such a, you just get sucked into this vortex and it's you get so confident about the quarter that's ahead and you get to have this is what I love about you and Kayla is paint the picture like it's a big picture. Like
Mhm.
you're not letting us dream small.
Yeah.
You're not letting us think smaller than we're capable of. And just planning your quarter will be like, oh, I can do this. Oh,
Mm.
okay. And I even know how I can get there.
Right.
So yeah, I love that because I'm definitely also a systems person. Like I love the mindset, but you really also need to tell me how I can get there. And I think the accelerator is just a beautiful mix of both. And
Mm.
just the calls in general, like all the weekly calls have that too, where it's the perfect balance.
I love that so much. Yeah, and it's for us, it's really important that we do focus on 90 days ahead. We don't want to say, what are you working on right now for 12 months from now? Because it's, yeah, we can talk about that, but we know that we're all ever evolving, excited, ambitious entrepreneurs. Let's just focus on 90 days. A lot can
Yeah.
happen in 90 days.
We just had our quarter 3 accelerator. When we had the quarter 2 accelerator, I didn't even know I was going to be here. So there
Yeah,
you go.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so much can change. Okay, I love that. Now, when you think back to yourself, I don't know, 7 months ago, 8 months ago, who you were as a business owner, how you identified as the person who runs your business, to how you feel now, what would you say feels like your biggest personal transformation since being an Aligned CEO method?
The biggest transformation is that I now believe that I actually have something that people want. That has 2 reasons. It's definitely the mindset where 7 months ago I would find myself not believing that I could actually make an income from my business. And that's why I first enrolled in Aligned Business School. And then I was like, no, I can't do Aligned CEO method. It's too expensive. And then I still did make it happen because I wanted it. And I was like, I'm not going to wait. I had no clue how, but it's just the energy that I got from you that I was like, okay, this is possible. I just need to know how. And then practically, it's probably when I really specified my offer, when I
Mm,
really knew, okay, this is the offer, I'm going to go all in. And it took some months and it took some launches and some seeing what works and what doesn't work. But when I got really clear on this is the thing I want to sell every day, and just one, like not 10 different ones because you just want to make money left and right. It's
right.
no one thing will give me everything I need. Yeah.
Oh, I love that so much. I love that so much. And this is a thing. People are like, you just joked and said, like, this is why you're polyamorous and bi. Because it's, do I have to choose? And it's in business, can we choose something and give it our energy and focus and attention and go all in? And we don't mean for 6 weeks or 6 months. We're talking like a solid year and a half. Go give it your all. And then if you're feeling like I truly gave this 110% and I still don't want to do this, then switch or then add something new. But prove to yourself that the thing that you love to do, other people want, and you can make an income doing that. And then start adding in other streams if that feels good. But focusing on one thing, I think, is the biggest differentiator between people who are new in business. And I'm talking like in their first 5 years to being successful to not being successful, is like trying to do it all when you could just focus on one thing.
Yeah. And I love the word focus because that's what it is. If I run a training or I run 5 days of breathwork in a row, and that's like a lower priced offer, but it still focuses on the liberated lover method. So it's still the end point.
Right.
So you can still make a podcast about something else. It's not that
Yeah.
you're tied to that, but it is something you focus on where all your energy goes. And that is just, it feels so freeing. Yeah.
Mm. I love that. Okay, last question. What would you say to somebody who's like maybe considering it, but they're on the fence? Maybe they're on the fence because they're scared to spend the money or they're scared to commit to a year. What would you say to somebody who's like, I want this, but I'm scared?
Well, I wish I could have told myself that like years ago. I come from a very scarcity mindset and when it comes to money.
You did.
And I did. Okay, not anymore. And I've invested, I think, over 50K like over the years in coaching programs, money I didn't have.
Mm,
I made my first full-time income last year, which is wild.
mm,
So I would just say money is not the problem. And if you're still listening to the podcast, if you're still coming to the free trainings, if you're still like, oh, they have something that I don't, get over it because money, it will come to you. And I know that it can feel like it won't. And especially if you have that voice in your head that's, but what if it doesn't work? Or what if? But if I wouldn't have done that, I wouldn't be where I am now. And I wouldn't make all the leaps that I do. And surely you can make, what is it, like 1,000 a month? Surely you can make that in your business.
yeah, that's the intention.
Yeah.
Let's make more than that. And the intention is we trust that if you come to the calls, ask the questions, follow the back end work, you will be making at least your investment back.
I had my most successful launch a couple
Yeah.
weeks back. So that
Yeah.
was like 6 months in, and I made, what is it, like more than half of the initial investment back.
Yeah. So good.
No, I'm saying more than half. No, it's almost the full investment.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty
I did.
much.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, I love that. All right, let's bring people back to you. What do you have going on? People are going to hear this, say mid-July. What do you have going on right now? Where can people find you? Is there a freebie that they can dip their toes in? Podcast, Instagram, all that great stuff. And we'll make sure for everybody who's listening or watching, you don't have to go scribble this down. We'll have everything linked in the show notes.
Mhm. Yeah, so my podcast is a great way to get into my world. I get the feedback that's the way that people binge it, and people are very happy that I talk about the taboo breakers and all the things that they want to know before they connect with me and invest. I would say the podcast for sure has a lot of knowledge in there, a lot of juicy topics and conversations. My Instagram, I just post a lot of content, and that's where you'll find all my work that opens up. So the Liberated Lover method opens up a couple of times, like a year, so at least every quarter, because we run a very polished group dynamic. If you want to get in, you're going to have to, keep an eye on my Instagram and see. Maybe I run a training so you can get a taste of it. Maybe I run the 5 days of breath work, but I really want to see who comes into the program. And if you are like, I need that, then just join one of my next trainings, and you can definitely in the podcast have a lot of knowledge that you want to know beforehand, and all the things to get started now with changing the self-compromise patterns and attracting different type of love and intimacy. And once you're ready to go deeper, I trust that you'll find me when the doors open, and I would love to have you.
It's so great that you have so many different ways that people can find you, listen to you, explore what it is that you do, dip their toes in, get on a wait list, pay attention, completely change their love life, like self-love life and how they interact with others. Like you're doing such incredible, powerful work. I can't wait for people to hear this. So whether you find this conversation on the My Line Purpose podcast or on My Line Purpose YouTube channel, make sure that you reach out to Samenda, say hello, let her know that you heard this conversation, what stood out to you. And I just want to say thank you so much for joining me today, Samenda. I love the work that you do in the world.
Thank you so much for the great questions too, and so happy that I found you guys and that I get to be in your energy every week.
Every week. Okay. Thank you so much. Thanks everybody for listening, for watching. And we'll be back next week with another episode.